What's up everyone, Dally here from No Tier Gaming, and today we're going to be taking a look at my match versus Johan Holic on Dueling Book. He's currently, or at least at the time, was the ranked 3 player. I'm playing Fish on here, which is funny to run into one of the top players while I'm playing Fish. We actually do get a sizable amount of watchers in the game, watching me kind of give him these moist hands. And Fish is actually not that bad of a deck overall. He's running Shaddoll Invoked Dogmaticka, which isn't a great matchup for Fish, but it's not one of the more losing ones. I would say Outlick or some of the more back row heavy decks can be really rough if you don't draw the right hands or you're not going first. Those decks can really put up a fight versus you. However, this deck is manageable as long as they're not able to get into a kind of a window on your turn with you having no interaction for window. We do have Imperm to kind of help us with that, but if we don't draw it, we don't draw it. So fast forward through this, obviously isn't anything too interesting. We have Desires here. So we draw the Ash for the Shaddoll Fusion. All he's able to do is go Ecclesia, set a punishment, which isn't a terrible play in and of itself. However, if he does activate that punishment, it will lock him out for the turn, which isn't something you really want. So to start off with, we're able to go into the Beautiful Princess. We'll go Princess Effect. And the entire time when I see that punishment set, I am very worried about him double popping me with Natis, so I was trying to play around that as best I could. So the way I do that here, instead of just summoning the Buzzsaw Shark, we will go into Beautiful Princess, use Princess's Effect to special summon one fish monster from our deck. So we're going to skip past this so you have to read the card because no one knows what it is. One of my biggest gripes about Beautiful Princess is that it's Beautiful Princess, not Beautiful Fincess, which obviously is a dumb thing to complain about, but if you're going to do part of a pun, you might as well do the full one, honestly. Let's be real. Anyways, continuing, we go for Lantern Shark. Lantern Shark's effect is that you can special summon one level 3, 4, or 5 water monster from your hand in defense position. And he also has a secondary effect that he can be a level 5 himself when used for an XYZ of a water monster that is level 3, 4, or 5. He can change his level to one of those depending on what is necessary, but he is 4 base. We are going to bring out the Lifeless Leaf Fish. We're going to use this to try to get some advantage game going a little bit more. We really want to have advantage if possible. So we're going to send it, and we'll send the XYZ Remora because that is arguably one of the worst draws in our deck that we, not worst, one of the only cards in our deck we don't currently have access to. We have access to our main 5 fish monsters in Lantern, Lifeless, Silent Angler, XYZ Remora, and Buzzsaw. And we do play a card that allows us to shuffle or to recycle all of our fish cards back to our deck. It's this one right here, Whitefish Salvage. I actually have them with me. I have this whole deck in real life pretty much built now, other than one Silent Angler, which I have coming in the mail, hopefully. Fingers crossed, dude. The mail system sucks. So we're going to start making our plays here. We're going to go straight into an Abyss Dweller. This might have been the wrong play. It might have been better Tornado first, but I guess we would have been double popped in that situation, so I don't think it really matters. I think the Dweller here plays correct. It guarantees we're not going to get popped. I think I should have used the Shade Breeding for the Dweller, though, if I'm going to be 100% honest. However, making that Dweller early means he's going to end up having to... He doesn't want to use the punishment. I didn't think about that, but he was playing shit at the time, but he's playing shit else. He doesn't want to use the punishment as much, so I should have... I made the Dweller first, but I think I should have made the Tornado first. I think that would have been the better play in most scenarios, because we can use the Tornado and hopefully we kind of end on the same situation with one more monster on the field in a lot of hands there, because like if he doesn't kill the Tornado, or if he doesn't pop the Tornado and he instead pops one of our other monsters, we don't get the Dweller effect. No, maybe I think Dweller first was right. Yeah, the more I'm looking at this, Dweller first was definitely correct play. We want to make sure that if he does activate that punishment, he is getting punished for it, obviously. Jesus Christ. He goes for the punishment. We use Tornado Effect to force the punishment out because we do want him to activate it this turn, because he will not be able to use it. I was worried about a double pop the whole time though, so I did want a Dweller first, and obviously that was correct. So he goes to send the window to the graveyard. Dweller will lock the construct of actually using its effect in the graveyard, meaning he cannot get the Shaddoll Fusion back, which is really huge, obviously. And we do lose our Dweller, but that's not really that big of a deal because we're able to resolve Lifeless Leaf Fish here, just draw one card, which is actually obviously like insane here. We get the Ash, which is really strong, and all he's able to do now is to take some damage, and yeah, we're just in a really good position at this point. We Ash Shaddoll Fusion, but obviously he can't use it. I totally forgot. I even played around it. We get one of the best top decks we could have asked for in the XYZ Remora here. Obviously Remora is one of the best cards in the deck, which I probably would have to explain, but I'm too lazy to do so. So we go for Bahamut Shark to special summon Toad. We use Buzzsaw Effect to special summon a fish from our deck. Then we make Bahamut Shark special summoning Toad. We overlay Drill Driver Vespinetto on top of the Bahamut Shark, And then we detach 2 materials from the Vespinetto to special summon XYZ Remora. Remora's effect is that you can special summon this card from your hand by detaching 2 XYZ materials from a monster you control. When you do, you can target 2 level 4 fish monsters in your graveyard, special summon those targets in face-up defense position. Their effects are indicated, they cannot change their battle positions or attack. Also, they cannot be used for any... they cannot be used as XYZ materials except for the XYZ summon of a water monster. So it is kind of restrictive, other than the fact that pretty much the only XYZs we play are water monsters, except for Vespinetto, Tornado Dragon, and I think Badusta. So for the most part, it's not super relevant that we can only make one, or we can only make water monsters. So from this situation, we are actually just kind of in the game completely. I mean, what is he really going to do? He's staring down double Toad Tornado Dragon. I have an Ash and I have a Ghost Ogre in hand. We know he has a Shaddoll Fusion, but that doesn't really matter. So we swing over the Wendy. We're going to use the Toad to negate the Wendy because we really don't want to just give him free advantage for no reason. Unfortunately, and for anyone who's like, why don't you take the Wendy? When a monster is going to be destroyed by battle, Toad cannot destroy it by a card effect, because at the time of flipping, it's already being resolved that it is destroyed by battle by the time it activates its effect on being flipped over. So I can't actually Toad it to destroy it and negate it, which does kind of suck. I do actually also misplay here because I swing again and then I use the Lifeless Leaf and then I use Toad effect, which is a dumb misplay on my part. But what can you really do? Man, that's a mouthful. Yeah, I gotta slow myself down a little bit. I'm good at commentating in those situations, but it does get to be a little much when I go that fast. So here, yeah, he does call me on it. I can't use Toad effect after. It's just dumb on my part, to be honest. So then I would have been better to add Angler back anyways. I think if I had it in Graveyard, it would have been. If I had gone for Angler over Leaffish there, that would have been the correct play. But looking at it right now, we are just in an incredibly dominant position. He goes for the Shaddoll Fusion. We Ash it. The reason we do that is obviously because there is a card called Invocation, which he could have in hand. Yeah, he does end up having the Invocation here. With us not negating it, we're just able to Toad negate the Invocation, and he really doesn't have tons and tons of follow-up here. The other thing that I thought was kind of strange is that when he goes for Shaddoll Fusion in this scenario, he doesn't actually go for Construct, which I thought would have been a lot better than what he does end up going for, but maybe it makes sense in some weird world that I'm not thinking of. So we fast forward through. He makes the Anaconda here. He uses Anaconda effect, paying 2,000 life points to resolve Shaddoll Fusion. That is literally all 3 of them. And so we're going to fast forward a little bit. He tries to go for the Wendy effect. Unfortunately, obviously, he can't go for the Wendy effect. The reason being is that he did special summon with Anaconda, so he cannot special summon for the rest of the turn. So he gets the Apcalone out. He uses Apcalone effect on my Bahamut Shark, meaning I'm not going to be able to special summon Toad back, which does kind of suck, especially because we didn't get the other Toad out of monster back. He swings over Remora, which normally would be kind of crappy, except for the fact that we do have Vespinetto to bring back Buzzsaw Shark, and we're able to swing over. And yeah, this will be pretty much all she wrote here. We go for the Buzzsaw Shark, special summoning Lantern Shark, and we are able to make one of our Silent Honor Arc here, which I think this card is super underrated in the Rank 4 toolbox. There's so many random stuff. It deals with without giving your opponent the option to gain advantage, which I think is so huge. It's also floats, and it has 2100 attack, which isn't great, but not terrible, especially when it's backed up by a Bistol. I think this card's underrated. Every time I don't play it in Rank 4 toolboxes, I always regret it. If I had to make anything else here to kill this, I would have super been in a bad spot, to be honest. And you can't destroy it by battle, meaning, yeah, I was basically SOL if I didn't have a way to deal with this, because all he has to do is link it off, and then he basically is able to do all his Shaddoll stuff again. We get into the Phantasma here, which is super nice. So going back through it, I made a weird play here. This is super greedy, and I probably shouldn't have done this, but all I had to do is use Tornado Dragon to pop the Magical Meltdown. But I mean, like, I figured his hand was dead anyways, and so our Baylor would be fine. But if we had just done this, he literally would have had nothing. But we do force him to come in a normal summon. I don't know. This whole play route is very weird. I probably shouldn't have done this way. But he does end up stooping. I wanted to resolve the Phantasme because I'm greedy like that. But it definitely was almost never correct to do so. So yeah, definitely a misplay on my part here. We're going to fast forward through this game. Basically, I guess I can talk about my play route here. I Ashed the Alistair. I don't know if that was ever correct, but it's not bad. He goes in for Invocation, specials to make Construct. Puts the Schism in Graveyard. He links the Construct away for Gravity Controller. Gravity Controller sets, and then he adds the Schism back with Construct effect, sets the Schism. We resolve Desires. We have a lot of gas here. Like this hand is insanely gas. It does like everything you could want in a hand. The problem is, yeah, Schism turns off our entire hand. I sided Jamasil in. So I sided Jamasil in, and I also sided in, what's the best boy? I'm trying to think I can't even think of the name right now. Oh yeah, so we sided Jamasil in, and we sided Cyclone in, and we set a Dark Ruler in. I didn't see any of them. Oh, it feels so bad when that happens. So he goes for the Schism here, and because he pre-shot Schism, I couldn't go for Silent Angler, which was like the biggest problem that I had right there. Had I been able to go for Silent Angler there, he would have been forced to Schism. All I have to do is go make an out, any rank 4 out, to just swing over it, and swing over the window, and we're in a good spot again, because yeah, he didn't resolve. He had fusion, but it didn't really matter there. I think like had he not shotgun the Schism, he would have lost the game. So it was very smart for him to do it, but it really sucks that was the scenario we got put into. So fast forward through, he makes the window. We don't really have an out. I show him like, look at all the fucking, look how much gas I have. But yeah, you just Schism first, and I didn't draw an out. Any of my 9 outs, which does suck, but that's how the game works out sometimes. So we go into game 3 now. I get to go first for once. Oh man, we get to see the spicy combos. Our hand on outset is dead. Oh my god, I looked at this hand, I was like, dude, I'm gonna lose this, aren't I? With like having people watch me play Fish, and then like, dude, Fish sucks. And like, no, Fish is great. I just sometimes get bad hands. So we go for the Beautiful Princess. Beautiful Princess's effect banishes itself on summon, especially summon a level 4 Fish from our deck. We went over this already, I believe. We use it to bring up Buzzsaw. Buzzsaw effect on himself, especially summon Leaf Fish. Sometimes it's better to roll Lantern Shark. I think against this matchup specifically, Lantern Shark is not as correct because, at least off of the Buzzsaw, because sometimes you want to go into Super Valiant, but I didn't have any more extenders where I could Double Toad and have the Super Valiant too. So I'm over talking about this, but yeah, just know that play was correct there. We use the same play as before. We go Bahamut Shark, Summon Toad, make Vespinato, exercise your more from hand. Yeah, I mean this is all she wrote, right? We make the double Toad, double Bahamut Shark, Vespino, exercise your more. We have 2 monsters that are floating, Vespino that's also floating. We have Bahamut Shark set up for next turn, and we have a level 4 on board. We literally have a full 5 monster board that's putting out 2 interactions by itself, and we only did it off 2 cards, and both those interactions are floating. Oh, I love this deck so much. So yeah, Dark Ruler me daddy, and guess what happens? Oh, you know it does. He did indeed Dark Ruler me daddy. Okay, now we're playing a real game. He goes for Shaddoll Fusion, but yeah, of course, when he goes for the Shaddoll Fusion, we ash it. Because what else would we do? We Cyclone the Magical Meltdown, meaning he doesn't get to add the Alistair to hand, which puts us in a really good spot. He does make kind of a greedy play here, I think so. For anyone curious what I think the correct play here was, I'm not 100% sure on this, but I'm pretty sure the correct play here would have been to go for the no, I think this is the high roll route that I think you kind of have to do. He goes for the Anaconda effect, and I mean, we see it in my hand. You know it's there. You see that Veiler here, and yeah, we Veiler it, and yep, he tries to resolve Shaddoll Fusion. He just can't. Last card in his hand was a Wendy. Unfortunately for him, yeah, we had the 3 interactions that weren't Ash for his Dark Ruler, or that weren't monsters on board for Dark Ruler, and he just kind of lost. I did side Judgments in, so I could have seen that to stop the Dark Ruler and just really won the game even more. But yeah, this deck is really fun. I mean, we used 2 cards, we made 2 interactions, and we put 5 monsters out, and we have 3 cards that are floating, meaning it's pretty hard to kill us, to be honest. Even if he was able to push for damage. I mean, outside of Part of Trio, there's not really much that's gonna look at this board and be like, I can just out everything. Unless you have like an Access Toad Talker for 4, or Access Talker with like 4 setup, but we don't talk about that. And you have to have a Dark Ruler with that too, and play through Ash. And yeah, my hand was pretty nuts. That's all there is to really say about that. With a Desires follow up, Double Toad, the Bahamut Shark if we want to link up one of the Toads and recycle itself with. And yeah, dude, this deck is just nuts when it works. It's so good. I definitely recommend trying this. I'll have a full deck profile up of this budget build on my channel. I think the deck in total, the most expensive card is like these Toads, which are 20s, and I think they're coming in Gold Series. So you can, in theory, build this deck if you wanted to for probably around $100 at most. I think, like I said, the most expensive cards are gonna be like your Dark Ruler No More and your Toads, which honestly isn't that bad for a deck that's surprisingly this good and does a lot of stuff and kind of is able to play a lot of hand traps in it, which I think is one of the nice things about it. Is that it's one of those combo decks where, because its engine isn't that large in general, you can really just stuff a lot of shit in it. That's one of the best parts of decks, is when you can just play a lot of other good stuff alongside of it, because the engine isn't that big. I really like those. I really like having the option to play more stuff like that. Anyways, thanks for watching. This deck does get better in the future. I will go over that at some point, and I'll have a deck profile up, and again, some point. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.